Oh boy, that's zoomy.
This might be one of the coolest broadcast dynamic microphones that maybe you've never heard of. This is the SE Dynacaster DCM8, and it's not to be confused with the cheaper DCM3 or DCM6 broadcast microphones. This is their flagship broadcast microphone, and it kind of kicks ass. And this microphone has a really cool hidden feature that I think helps it compete with other microphones in this category, like the Shure SM7B, the Electro Voice RE320, and other broadcast dynamic microphones. And the best part is, it's actually a fraction of the cost of those microphones. And of course, we're going to get to all of this, but let's start off by sort of calibrating our palette by listening to a few different microphone examples. Welcome to the palette cleanser. This is the Dynacaster DCM8. Wow, what a great way to calibrate our ears. This is a Sennheiser MD421 and it's on the music setting. What a great chance to listen to a few different microphones like the Shure MV7 Plus or Old Faithful, the Shure SM58. Now that we know where this sits sonically, let's talk about the build of this microphone, because this is one of the first spots where I think this microphone really starts to earn some brownie points. This mic is an absolute chonky unit. It is built so well. It's a really, really heavy metal. It just feels very, very, very well built. It has a really sleek short design. It's much shorter than the SM7B or RE320, so it takes up a lot smaller of a space. It has this really nice red grille on the front of it, and it's just absolutely built so well. You pull this out of the box and it's like, it's shockingly very well built. You get the point. Yeah. I also really like that they made some unique decisions with the layout and the build and the form factor of this microphone. It's not just another SM7B clone, which I really like. The form factor is really cool. It's short, it's unique, it's chunky, kind of more of like the podcast style microphone with like the Rode Pod mic and stuff like that, where they have that sort of short, chunky bass. It just feels very, very compact, which is quite nice. The last thing that I really love is the internal wired XLR port. I know some people don't like this too much because it's a little bit limiting if you have the XLR and the threaded insert in the same spot, because sometimes you can't get the stand in the right spot. Okay, let's talk about the hidden feature in this microphone that I think makes it really stand out. So SE Electronics has a tool called the Dynamite. This is essentially like an inline gain boost. You can think of it like a cloud lifter or a FET head that is built into this microphone, which means you don't need a cloud lifter or a FET head to get adequate gain out of this dynamic microphone. This is awesome because people with an SM7B, you hear stories that they have their gain cranked to full to be able to get that microphone to get adequate gain into their system. The huge advantage here is that a lot of content creators aren't using really expensive interfaces. And when you have a cheap interface and you crank the gain, you're gonna get a lot of noise coming up with that gain as well. So getting 30 decibels of really clean gain directly in your system without having to add more cables or more points of failure, it's actually a really sweet, sweet system, which typically isn't the case for dynamic microphones. Usually you have to drive them quite a lot. So this is huge win. Now, just because it's advertised as a broadcast microphone doesn't mean it doesn't also sound great on instruments. And even on things that are a little more delicate, like acoustic guitar. Now, as I mentioned, this microphone also has some EQ or some tone shaping on it, so let's go through those options right now. So first we have processing for the low end. We have flat, boost, and cut. Now, it doesn't actually say anywhere in the manual or in the tech specs where these are tuned to or like what frequency these are tuned to, but looking at the little image here, it looks as though it's around maybe 125 hertz is where they start to roll off those frequencies or boost them. I will say one thing about this microphone is that it does pick up a little bit of rumble. I'll actually demo that right now. So this is on completely flat. And you can hear as I tap my table, there's quite a bit of rumble coming through this. So I would definitely recommend cutting out that low end. There is a built-in shock mount in this microphone, but it's just not quite enough to handle some of those desk bumping, which is a bit disappointing for a broadcast style microphone because a lot of people are going to use this on a desk configuration like this or in like a newsroom or something like that. But right now, you're listening to this completely flat. And next we have processing for the high end. So we have flat, we have air, and we have extra air. And looking at the spec sheet here, you can see it's adding, it looks like almost 8 decibels of gain when it's on the bright air section. Now, before I demo these, anecdotally, when I plugged this microphone in for the first time, it was on flat low end and it was on air boost, or maybe it was on extra air. Either way, I plugged it in and I put on my headphones for the first time and I thought, I don't know if I love the sound of this microphone. It's pulling out like a bit of sort of, not sibilance, but just like, it just didn't sound very flattering on the upper range of my voice. I tend to be a little bit sibilant, so I usually have to duck those out a little bit in post. However, once I flicked the switches, got them back to neutral, right now it's completely flat, I really, really like it. I think it sounds quite nice. But let's go ahead and take a listen to these different presets on my voice so you can just hear those. Right now you're listening to the flat preset. There's no boost or cut on the low end. There's no hype on the top end. And I've gone ahead and added the bass boost. So here is the boost on the low end. And this right here is the low cut. So I've cut all the low end. I haven't touched the top end at all, but let's go ahead and put this back to neutral and then we'll adjust the top end. Once again, this is back to neutral. So I have nothing on the low end and nothing on the high end, but I am still using the Dynamite preamp. And this is with the first of 2 air settings turned on. So this is the hype on the top end. And this is the second air setting, the super air, the ultra air, whatever you want to call it, but the super, super bright setting if you want that extra crispy vocals. Now, just for a point of reference, this is with the Dynamite turned off. So I've had to take my gain from plus 23 up to plus 56 decibels of gain. Now, interestingly, with some microphones that I've tested recently, I've actually really enjoyed the tone shaping and being able to sort of sculpt the sound at the microphone and not doing it in post. This microphone, on the other hand, I think just sounds best neutral. I tend to just really prefer it in its neutral setting with the Dynamite on, but just using the sort of neutral flat EQ profile. And I find that gives me the best results. And then if I want to roll off some of that low end, which I would pretty much on every instance, I can just do that in post, or I can do that on my interface. Your results may vary. You might want to try it on some instruments, or maybe on your voice it sounds different. So of course on your voice it's going to sound different. You're a different human being, but it's just something to consider. Like, I definitely just like this in neutral. All right, next up, pop rejection. Pop. Peter Piper packed a pack of pickled peppers. This is just straight up. I'm not even using the giant, massive windscreen that they included. Let me throw this on. Peter Piper packed a pack of pickled peppers. You cannot possibly pop this thing. It is just very good. You cannot pop this thing. With it off, it's a little more poppy. You got to be a bit careful, but I've been using it this whole video and I don't think it's been an issue. Let me know. Let me know if it sucks. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this yet, but this is a cardioid microphone. And one of the big advantages of cardioid, I've reviewed a few microphones in this sort of category that are super cardioid. I prefer cardioid because of the massive blind spot on the back of the microphone. Super cardioid is going to pick up a tiny bit more right from the back. Yes, you get a little bit more of the sides in a cardioid profile than you would a super cardioid, but you're getting the advantage of almost nothing from the back. So when you have your keyboard behind the microphone, which a lot of people are going to use this in sort of a broadcast, podcast, or news situation where you've got a keyboard right in front of you, cardioid is really a smart choice for that. So I definitely appreciate it being cardioid. All right, let's demo this mic against a few other contenders, and we'll get my wife to record some samples as well so you can hear this on female voice.
Foxes have incredible hearing and can detect small animals like mice underground from several feet away. Foxes have incredible hearing and can detect small animals like mice underground from several feet away. Foxes have incredible hearing and can detect small animals like mice underground from several feet away. Foxes have incredible hearing and can detect small animals like mice underground from several feet away. Foxes have incredible hearing and can detect small animals like mice underground from several feet away. Foxes have incredible hearing and can detect small animals like mice underground from several feet away.
I'm really curious to know what you thought of those sound examples and where you think this microphone sort of ranks among the competition. I think that some context to add here is really important, is about the pricing. So let's get into the pricing about this. Okay, so let's talk about the SM7B, because this is like everybody and their brother and their mother and their dog has an SM7B. It's like the most popular streaming microphone, the most popular podcasting microphone, the most popular for gaming. It's just like everyone seems to have one. And they have their issues. Like, they have incredibly low gain, so everyone's buying cloud lifters. So let's just talk about the pricing. SM7B right now is $439 US. That is significantly expensive, and yet people just keep buying it over and over. Also, I know it's a great mic, so like, before you come at me in the comments being like, but it's a great, Michael Jackson uses it. Like, I get it. It's a great microphone. It's really expensive. $439 for a dynamic microphone that's almost an SM57, but it's like 4.5 times the price, and then you need a cloud lifter. So let's call it $550 total for an SM7B and a cloud lifter. Electro Voice RE320, another great competitor, a little bit cheaper, but $300. But you also might need a cloud lifter with that. So we're talking $439 for that microphone. So we've got $550, we've got $439. This microphone right now is $299. So like $140 cheaper than the next option. That said, let's talk about some cheaper options. This microphone is still 3 times more expensive than an SM57. You can be the judge if this is 3 times better than an SM57, or if a Shure SM7B and a cloud lifter is almost double as good as this microphone. Almost double. That's pretty crazy. I think that this might be one of the most overlooked microphones in the broadcasting space. It gets a lot of the benefits of the SM7B or the RE20 without having to pay that SM7B tax that we all seem to just pay willy-nilly. Everyone just sort of says, okay, that's what a microphone should cost. That's the best microphone. All the streamers use it. I think this is really, really overlooked. I think it sounds great. I feel like if you bought this, you'd be very, very happy. I think the tone sounds really good. I've been editing my videos using this microphone for the past 2 months now and been using it for all my work calls and stuff like that. And I mean, it's been sounding great. Yeah, quite happy with it. Anyways, if you've made it this far in the video, I heard that YouTube just made subscriptions free, so you can just subscribe down below. It's completely free. Anyways, let me know what you think of this mic. I'm really curious. Any questions that you have, put them down below and I'll get back to you. Sick.